Elvis's soundtrack is, of course, about Elvis. Ironically, however, its soundtrack doesn't sound distinctly like it should back during Elvis Presley's time, focused mostly on music supervisor Anton Mosted, whose contribution should be noted throughout the essay, and Baz Luhrmann's usage of needle-dropping modern hits in period settings. Of course, its effects are largely different. In order for an audience to understand why Elvis Presley's music was so popular at the time, what Luhrmann did was blast modern hits and remix them in a modern setting. Most notably, this was done with a cover of Hound Dog by Shankar Dureke, originally sung by Big Mama Thornton in 1952, which transforms into Vegas by Doja Cat. Its effects, while understandable on paper, is susceptible to a dissonance between the periods the music and film are set. The inherent problem with this approach, which is wholly understandable from Luhrmann as a director, simply comes down to a disconnect between musical styles. By using Doja Cat within Elvis, a film dedicated to the rock and roll of Elvis Presley with all its blues-inspired music, it's a very strange thing to hear modern hip-hop separated by the different uses of technology and recording styles against this original backdrop. While this approach may or may not work, depending on the viewer, Babylon uses a more conventional, yet inventive, approach to this cultural period disconnect. The kind of jazz we hear in Babylon is, while being somewhat period accurate with its ragtime tunes and jazz, does not sound like what came out during the period. Big band jazz of the nature we see in Babylon in the 1920s was vastly different, especially because formative names like Louis Armstrong, Miles Davis, or Thelonious Monk were not around to create jazz that we are familiar with. This was further proven by the way composer Justin Hurwitz used the inspiration of rock and electronic dance music for the score. By doing so, he manages to create a bombast that is both distinct to its time, harkening back to the kinds of music used in the 1920s, its own oeuvre, and a relatability that allows us to understand the music the characters would be listening to. However, it is not as black and white as simply portraying relatability between two time periods, or the fact that we as an audience can understand what they are listening to with a rough translation of the music. No. What Luhrmann does in Elvis can be interpreted as a sort of way not just to roughly translate the blues into a modern context, but to displace and understand the cultural roots of the modern music we listen to today, crafting a through line between the two eras and further adding to the impact that Elvis Presley had on modern music. It's this difference, even with its issues of detachment, Luhrmann has a distinct, even if unintentional, way of viewing music as a device for contextual connection. With Hurwitz, with his conventional approach, creates a flavor that makes the music of yesteryear more palpable and easy to understand for modern ears. When he creates a song like Voodoo Mama, by making modern music with the genre of jazz with all its accompanying instruments and flares, we get to see this rough translation and understandability on display. It's within the fusion of past and present, instead of replacement, that makes the effect of listening to it being put on screen that makes the music of the past feel modern with the idea of translation. Yet, with this, it also distracts from much more thought about the original period context that the film presents. It is very easy for the fusion of music to often be taken hold by the music of the present and the technology provided to us now, thus losing the original essence of that original concept. Then it becomes not music of the past made modern, but music of the now that acts as pastiche or facsimile. However, it should be noted that these two films have different intentions. Babylon is a fictionalized odyssey on Hollywood, while Elvis is a biopic about the life of Elvis Presley and his manipulation under Tom Parker, amidst the legacy of his music. Therefore, with these two levels of reality, we must consider the levels of realism these films are going for. However, I contest that these two films and their unreality still have to consider the stories they are trying to tell, because that is what is at play for those stories. Thus, when talking about the ways the music is shown in both Babylon and Elvis, with how the music is presented, either as rough translation or footnote history lesson. The ways they handle it create a through line that makes the audience understand what the films are about. Babylon is centered around the past stories of Hollywood. Elvis wants to unpack the legacy of Elvis Presley. These two films have different intentions with the music, but it is with their approaches that they create meaning and further add to the themes and ideas of the film, whether noticed or not.